Hey, good morning. Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. One of the posts that I put up recently in the last couple of days was another comment and a little discussion on the whole problem of DNA. Now, somebody also offered a question, a comment, a question for me. Would I explain what you need about coming to the Philippines? Well, this also goes in what you need to come to the Philippines. We've already done it, but we'll do a little bit of it again. The adoption thing, right? And the DNA. DNA apparently is being taken as a final way of deciding whether a child will be granted citizenship. In other words, it must have corresponding DNA with the father. Now, how does that hook up with adoption? I made a point of telling you of a ritual, a practice that happens here for people, often expats, who are living here permanently and see no reason to think about what the rules of the US or the UK or the Aussie government are. They don't think that they're going to need it, but then things change. Now, as someone rightly said, if you have adopted a child in the Philippines, you will have a paper that says that you legally adopted that child. The child is yours legally by adoption, and then whatever nationality you are from, that will be honoured by your government. Now, the operative word is legally. How did you adopt that child? And I made a point of saying how easy it is here. This is what the government are up against in many ways, of trying to regulate these kinds of things and stop them from going on. Now, in most places, especially rural places, which apparently a lot of us expats choose to live because of the peace and quiet, an ironic way to describe life here after the video that I've just put up about ambient noise and how we all suffer from videoke from afar. So, but anyway, we come here because it's not regulated. I told you some time ago that I think it must be going on for 2 years ago now. I got a parking ticket in Tagbilaran. I don't know where to go in Tagbilaran, and somehow it always gets put on the back burner whenever we go there because we have some important things to do. But I did go into Talabon not very long after that and say, look, I got a parking ticket, can I pay it? Now, it doesn't say anything on the parking ticket as to how much I should pay. I pointed that out, and the woman who is at that little desk when you go into Talabon LTO, and she looked at the parking ticket like this, and, oh. And she looked at that and looked it up and down, and I said, well, can I pay it? How can I pay it? She said, I have no idea. I said, well, aren't you the LTO? For me, you are the LTO, I would say, ma'am. And she said, well, yes, but we don't do parking tickets. I thought that was wonderful. But since then, nothing. The truck that I got the parking ticket on is registered in our name. They can find us. Of course they can't. They're not going to. Now, how does that, I've meandered again, how does that line up with adoption? Well, some time ago we could have adopted, and I did make this point in that last video on adoption and on DNA and why you have DNA tests now. It's easy in the Philippines, it's easy to find a young girl who has fallen pregnant and has no means, neither her or her family, of bringing up that child that she can see at that time. So, not unlike what happens with surrogate parents, surrogate mothers in the West. A couple without a child can negotiate with the girl and offer to pay all of the costs of being pregnant and delivering and all of that, with, by negotiation once again, a fee for doing it. And then the young girl hands over the baby at birth. At birth. No paperwork is done on the spot. It's not like in the UK or the US, as I think it is in the US. There's no check on what happens with the child. Now, so the new parents, who, as far as the hospital goes, are there to visit, can walk away with a newborn baby and put it in their name. Mother and father. They are the mother and father. And who will check it? Who is going to do that? No one. Just like my parking ticket, you know, I have a parking ticket, but how can I pay it? Where is the regulation that makes sure, with the same accuracy and relentless brutality that the UK or the US do in chasing up these parking tickets, everybody's happy. A small child is taken care of, the mother is taken care of, doesn't have whatever little stigma there is in bearing a child out of wedlock. And it seems everybody's happy. Except when it comes to taking the child, assuming it is a marriage like mine, where I am a foreigner and Beth is the Filipina. Now, as soon as we try to go to America, we likely will be asked to do a DNA test. And of course, what will the DNA test show? Well, it won't show anything that the US government are interested in. And they won't be interested. They will be equally disinterested in letting that child be an American citizen. And that's what I really wanted to say in this little video. Because it's not, there's adoption and there's adoption. And there's legal adoption. And then there's, what can we say? Rural voluntary adoption, private, between friends. Everyone is taken care of, including the little child, rather than going into, say, an orphanage or into care. Or in some cases, and this happens the world over, maybe going into a trash can. That has happened, and the baby has been saved and then goes into an orphanage. Wow, wouldn't it have been wonderful if the adoption service process was easier and not so expensive and not so drawn out, that someone would have very happily taken that little girl. Not mentioning any names. So, thanks for looking in. This was a relatively short video, but it was important. The DNA thing is a threat that some people may have to consider if they're considering doing it the other way. Watch out. As always, you can't be busted for telling the truth, and that's where legal adoption has you, well, has you ensnared. If you ever hope, in my case, if I ever hoped for Beth, I don't actually. I personally prefer that she would live here with everything that she knows. But some people continue to think that foreign countries, first world countries, are the place to find happiness and paradise. Good luck on that.